show you how to add text to your videos in Adobe Premiere. So I'm going to jump on the computer really quick and pull up the program, and then I'll start you on this walkthrough process. All right, guys, so I've moved over to the computer and I've pulled up Adobe Premiere. Today I'm just in a project that I've got going on volcanoes. You can scroll through the clips just so you can see what the three different clips look like. What I'm going to do today is first zoom in so I can find my time. Maybe I want my text today to start at about the 2-second mark on this first clip, and I want it to last maybe the duration of the first clip or maybe close to the end. So to add our text box in Adobe Premiere, the first thing we're going to have to do is find the type tool icon. So over here where we already have our selection tool and our eraser tool, I'm going to look for the type tool icon. It looks like a capital T for text, so it shouldn't be too hard for you to find. I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to go up to my screen and kind of click click on the screen near where I want the text box to start. And I'm going to type out a title really quick. I think I'm going to call this "The Beauty of Destruction." Yes, volcanoes are destructive, but they're also kind of neat to look at the footage of. So we're going to just call it that for today. I'm going to kind of shrink this back down so I can see how long it makes that text box. So it did not make it the length of the full clip. It looks like it's only about 2.5 seconds long. If I want, though, I could take my mouse and go to the end and drag that to the end of the first clip. So now if I take my mouse and hover over, I can see that text is going to be on the screen for maybe like 7 seconds or so. All right, so I've got my text box selected down on the timeline. We can see that it's selected because it's kind of highlighted with white. If I clicked on the video footage, we can see that it's selected, but I want to make sure that I have my text box selected because we're going to go up to the effects control panel, and I'm going to show you a couple things that you can do with your text inside of Adobe Premiere. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little chevron, this little right pointing arrow, and this will extend this out so we can see more of the features that we can utilize in Adobe Premiere. So with that selected, I'm going to go up and I'm going to select all of my text because the first thing I want to do is change the font today. I think the last project that I did, I used Times New Roman. Today I'm going to switch this to a different font. I think I'm just going to use Calibri today. So I got to scroll up and find Calibri. All right, so Calibri, in my opinion, just looks a little bit more elegant, and since we're talking about the beauty, I figured that might be a good font to select today. So let me click off of that and see what that kind of looks like. All right, so I just have my font currently selected as white. If I wanted to, I could go back up, select the text, I could go over here to the fill, and I could choose a different color. I think sometimes just using white, though, makes it a lot easier to read. So I'm going to keep it on white, but I do think I'm going to add kind of a black outline to the text just to make it a little bit easier to read. So to do that, I'm going to once again make sure I've got my text box selected, go back up to my effects control panel, and I'm going to go down and add a stroke. And that's usually how you can add a border around the outside, but right now it's only got a border of 1 set for the stroke width. So I'm going to increase that to 5 and see what that looks like. So by changing that to 5, you can now see kind of a border around the white edge of your lettering, which I think makes it a lot easier to read. You do want to be careful, though, because you don't want to increase it too much. For instance, maybe instead of putting 5.0, maybe you hit 50, and then it really changes the look of it, and that's kind of ugly. So we don't want it to make it ugly when we're talking about the beauty. So I'm going to change that back to 5.0. I think that look is pretty good. It doesn't look extremely centered, so I'm going to scroll down in my effects control panel down to the positioning, and we have two different position markers. I'm going to take my mouse and drag the first one left and right so you can see how you can move your text. I'm going to try to get this as close to being centered as possible. So I moved it on accident. Let's move that back to about 93. That looks pretty centered. Maybe a little bit more to the left. All right, let's try it there at 89. All right, now if you wanted to move it vertically up and down, we could drag this. I think for right now, though, I do kind of want the text near the top, so I'm just going to keep it there. All right, so let's see what this looks like. I'm going to hit play. And watch this. It's going to be on the screen for about 7 seconds for the whole duration of that first clip. And we could do it that way, but I do also want to show you one more thing that you can do with keyframes and the opacity. So I'm going to scroll down, still in my effects control panel, still in my little section on text, and I'm going to find the opacity. And if I if I click on the little stopwatch, you can see that this adds a keyframe. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag this keyframe to the left so it starts at the beginning of the text box. And right now the opacity is at 100%. I'm going to change that to maybe 5%. It's really hard to see your text at that point. But what we can do, we can go frame by frame forward if we want. Maybe go like 3 or 4 frames. I'm going to do 3. I think go 3 frames forward. So I click that little step forward button 3 times, and I'm going to change the percent to 10%. And I'm going to go forward 3 more frames, change it to 15. 3 more frames. And I'm doing this part wrong. I told you the wrong thing. So let me select those and delete those keyframes. I'm going to drag this back to the beginning. Do that part over again. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a keyframe at the beginning. Change that to 0. And let's do 5%. We'll stick with that where it's just barely visible. We'll go forward 3 frames. Change it to 10%. You can see that when I hit enter, it adds a second keyframe, just 3 steps forward. So I'm going to do that a couple times. I may fast forward this part so that way you're not sitting there watching me do this same repetitive motion over and over. Main thing, I'm going to be going forward 3 frames and increasing it 5%. So you'll see me do this a couple times. I'll just have it on fast forward. All right, so I've gone from 0% opacity or 5% opacity up to 100% every 3 seconds. So if we scroll back and we watch this, it'll show you how your text can slowly appear, and then it stays at 100% for the rest of the time it's on the screen. If I wanted, I could set some keyframes at the end and make it disappear slowly, but I'm not going to really show you that. I'm just telling you that you can still do that with your keyframes. The point of the video today was just to show you how to add text, but also in the effects control panel, I showed you how you can change your color, how you can add a border stroke to the outside of your text. If you wanted, you could also like make the text bold, italics, There is a way where you can make all the letters capital, so that way if you accidentally typed it in lowercase, you don't have to go back and retype it. Just select your text and you can click the TT, the capital T, and that'll make it all caps. So there's a lot of things with text boxes that you can play around with. The main thing is just knowing that all the options are in your control panel, or the effects control panel. So hopefully this video will be a little bit informative and you'll be able to start adding text to some of your all's video projects. All right, thanks for watching, guys.